So, Mom, you had a very interesting tour of the Big Creek Hydroelectric plant up above Huntington Lake in the Sierras, Sierra Nevada mountain range near Fresno. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell the story of how you learned all about the Big Creek project.
Well, I learned a lot, and I've had to read more later. And there's a very good book. It's sold at the Museum of the Sierras, which is in Shaver Lake, and there's a small in the downtown part of Shaver. There's it's sold, and of course up at um, Big Creek. Big Creek has a small kind of place to tour, and we went. I several times I have gone into the big generating plant. It has multiple generators. It's up on the hill where the water comes over a little bridge shooting into Huntington Lake. I'm sure that anybody has traveled up there to Huntington has seen that, and it's a big white building with multiple kind of grated windows, and that is kind of the tip of the whole project. In the 1800s, a man named Eastman, uh, who was a really great guy.
Could I interrupt you for 1 second
He
to
was
maybe show the book, the cover of the book?
that's the generator plant that you see from the road when you turn at Huntington uh, Lake, and you see the water shooting out. And so this is filled with generators, but there is far more to this project. And I was privileged to go with a California history class from City College and go underground, which is, of course, this is sits up on a huge big granite mountain, and we went underneath and saw. Uh, we drove through a driveway that was as wide as a big semi truck, and they went in and took the granite out of this mountain, out from under this mountain, and built the generators in it and hauled things in and out. A man named Redinger was the chief engineer. It was financed by Huntington, who was the man. He was one of the four uh, financial kings of California in the 1800s. And Redinger um, uh, devised that this was very possible to use the power of the water to generate electricity.
And where does the electric? So it's currently a functioning project, and tell what who is running that project, and where does the electricity go? How who is
Well,
using
it,
it?
it goes down the valley from the mountains, from up at Shaver area and above on
It
huge.
powers Huntington and Shaver, the
Yes,
communities up there.
yes,
And
but
who is the company?
it
Who is the
also
company? Who is the company that runs it?
Huntington,
Southern
Southern
California.
California
Yeah.
Edison Company,
Mm-hmm.
which operates the electricity,
Uh-huh.
and it was originally devised for the streetcars of Los Angeles by Huntington, and now it provides the electricity for that whole area. Redinger was he drove a train from Fresno or even a little lower to uh, the area, the Shaver Lake and beyond area in the mountains, uh, and uh, he moved with his wife, who is actually his wife is kind of one of the engineers of this wonderful book. It's called The History of Big Creek, revised edition, and it's a very good book to be able to get a hold of it. And Redinger was a real mountain man. He had worked in Alaska. He had worked in near Seattle, and he is quoted by his wife that he could put his hand on a tree and know what kind of tree it was. So he was a very, very knowledgeable person of the mountains, and it quotes other people that worked on this. I'm quoting from the time of the 1800s, and it went from the 1800s, it went through into the 1900s when these towers were built with bringing the electricity. When you drive up to Shaver, you can still see those enormous towers that carry the electricity to Los Angeles, but they distribute it throughout the area and, of course, to Fresno and the rest of the San Joaquin Valley.
And currently they are running fiber optic in the communities of Huntington and Shaver. So now everything is underground because of wildfire hazard.
That's so good to know, Laurel, that there's fiber optics going on up there as well. It's being modernized. And when you read this book, you realize that this is an extremely long term, and it gives a good history, not only of that area and the men and women that worked on this project. Reginger's wife is quoted in here quite a bit.
Did they have anything to do with the naming of Redinger Lake?
Oh, yes, of
okay,
course.
that's what I thought.
Lake and Redinger Dam. And a lot of the dams...
Which is located in Madera County, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look that
there,
up, but I think so.
Yeah. There are, of course, Shaver is one of the biggest lakes up there, but Huntington is rather extensive too. And the electricity goes all the way up to Huntington and beyond. There are other communities, Edison, and other smaller communities in the mountains, and
like the Vermilion Valley that's way up where the John Muir Trail is located. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up. We'll maybe do a second episode to talk more about this, but thank you for sharing your knowledge, and really want to hear more about your tour in the next time we talk about this.
What I was just amazed is that the project went back so far, and it's an impressive thing that it's gone through these numerous decades.
All right.
To the present.
It is, and we'll talk about it some more. Really appreciate you sharing, and let's share some more about it.